If you hear this at the right time, your life will change. Not because I'm about to give you a secret formula, not because I'll motivate you for 5 minutes, not because this is another believe in yourself speech, but because you are standing at a silent turning point. And most people miss it. They scroll, they postpone. They say, I'll start Monday. They say, it's not the right time. They say, when I feel ready. And years pass. So, before you continue listening, answer this honestly. Are you tired of starting over, of feeling behind, of knowing you're capable of more but not moving, of watching other people live the life you secretly want? If yes, then this message is not random. You are not stuck because you are weak. You are stuck because you are divided. And today, we fix that. Part 1. The invisible war inside you. Your biggest problem is not money. It's not lack of opportunity. It's not your past. It's not your parents. It's not the economy. Your biggest problem is internal contradiction. One part of you wants growth, another part wants comfort. One part wants discipline, another wants dopamine. One part wants the gym, another wants the couch. One part wants to build a business, another wants guaranteed safety. And every day these parts negotiate. But here's the truth, nobody says clearly. The comfortable voice is louder. The disciplined voice is quieter. The future voice whispers. The present voice screams. And most people obey the loudest voice. That's why average is so common. Let me give you a real example. You wake up early. You say today is different. You feel motivated. Then your mind says, you didn't sleep enough. You deserve rest. Start tomorrow properly. You agree. Nothing changes. This isn't laziness. This is untrained focus. Successful people are not superhuman. They simply don't negotiate with weakness. They don't ask how they feel. They ask what must be done. That shift alone changes everything. Part 2. The lie about readiness. Most people believe they must feel ready before they act. That is a lie. You don't feel confident before the first workout. You don't feel ready before launching. You don't feel fearless before the difficult conversation. You don't feel prepared before changing your life. Confidence is created after action. Clarity is created during action. Momentum is created through repetition. Waiting to feel ready is how people stay average for decades. Let's be direct. You don't need another course, another podcast, another notebook, another vision board. You need uncomfortable action. Here's what changes everything. Act before you feel like it. Move before motivation. Decide before certainty. Example. There are two people. Person A studies business for 3 years, watches every video, reads every book, waits for the perfect plan. Person B starts small, makes mistakes, learns publicly, adjusts weekly. 3 years later, person B wins. Not because they were smarter, because they moved. Speed beats perfection, always. Part 3. The cost of staying the same. Let me ask you something uncomfortable. What is it costing you to stay exactly where you are? Not financially, emotionally, mentally, identity-wise. Because comfort has a hidden price. When you ignore your potential, something inside you weakens. You become slightly more cynical, slightly more doubtful, slightly more resentful. You start criticizing people who try. You start saying things like, must be nice. They got lucky. That won't last. But deep down, you didn't try fully. That regret compounds. Imagine yourself 5 years from now. 2 scenarios. Scenario 1. You continue as you are. Small improvements, no major risks, safe choices. Scenario 2. You choose discomfort. You build skills. You build discipline. You fail forward. You grow visibly. Which version respects themselves more? This isn't about becoming rich. This isn't about fame. This is about self-respect. Nothing destroys self-respect faster than ignored potential. Part 4. Why you keep starting over. You don't lack ambition. You lack identity alignment. Every time you say, this is the new me, but your daily habits don't change, your brain stops believing you. You become someone who talks, not someone who executes. And that gap kills confidence. Confidence is not built by affirmations. It's built by evidence. You don't believe in yourself because you haven't proven yourself to yourself. So, here's the solution. Lower intensity, increase consistency. Instead of 2-hour workouts to 20 minutes daily, 10-hour work sprints to 90 focused minutes. Radical life change to one controlled habit. Small discipline done daily rewires identity. Example: if you read 10 pages daily, in 1 year, you finish 12 to 18 books. If you invest 1 hour daily in a skill, in 1 year, you gain 365 hours of experience. Consistency humiliates motivation. You don't need hype, you need structure. Part 5, the hard truth about fear. You think fear means stop. It doesn't. Fear means growth is near. The reason your heart beats faster before change is because your brain prefers predictability, even if predictable equals mediocre. Your nervous system values safety over success. That's biology. So, you must override biology with intention. Every time you do something uncomfortable, post your idea, speak your truth, set boundaries, raise your standards, leave what drains you. You expand your tolerance for growth. Courage is not absence of fear. It's action despite it. Look at people you admire. They feel fear. They just don't obey it. Part 6. The decision that changes everything. There is a moment in every life where you either drift or decide. Not loudly, not dramatically, quietly. You stop blaming, you stop explaining, you stop waiting. And you say, no more negotiation with my lower self. That's it. No fireworks, no announcement, just internal clarity. And from that day forward, you wake up when you said you would. You train even when tired. You build even when unseen. You keep promises to yourself. That's when your life shifts, because identity shifts first. Results follow later. Part 7. Practical reset. No motivation, just execution. Here's what you do. Starting today, remove one distraction, delete one app, mute one noise source, add one discipline, wake up 30 minutes earlier, walk daily, journal honestly, track one metric, income, work hours, calories, progress. Make one uncomfortable move this week, send the email, apply for the job, start the channel, have the conversation, not 10 moves, 1. Massive transformation is built from controlled decisions. Part 8. The future you is watching. Imagine the version of you 3 years from now, stronger, sharper, calmer, disciplined. They are not lucky, they are built from daily choices. And right now, that version is watching you, waiting for you to stop hesitating. Every action you take today either moves you toward them or away from them. There is no neutral. Scrolling is a choice. Procrastinating is a choice. Avoiding hard things is a choice. But so is growth. Final message. If this found you at the right time, you don't need to change your whole life tonight. You need one decision, one line you refuse to cross again, one standard you refuse to lower, one habit you refuse to break, and you repeat it tomorrow, and the next day, and the next. Motivation fades, discipline compounds. If this reached you at the right time, you already know what you need to do. Not what sounds inspiring, not what looks impressive. What is necessary? So here's the question that will define your next year. Will you keep negotiating with the version of you that wants comfort? Or will you build the version of you that demands growth? Your life doesn't change when you feel inspired. It changes when you decide that staying the same is no longer acceptable. If you heard this at the right time, don't let it become another video you agreed with. Let it become the moment you shifted, not loudly, but permanently. Part 9. Why most people never reach their real level. Here's a brutal truth. Most people don't fail because they aim too high. They fail because they subconsciously lower their own ceiling. They say they want freedom, money, strong body, powerful mindset, impact. But their self-image is still small, and your life will always expand or shrink to match your self-image. If deep down you see yourself as, I'm inconsistent, I'm not disciplined, I'm bad with money, I always quit, you will unconsciously prove it true. Not because it's destiny, because identity seeks confirmation. That's why some people sabotage momentum. They start doing well. Then suddenly, skip days, create drama, procrastinate, pick fights, lose focus. Why? Because success feels unfamiliar, and the brain prefers familiar struggle over unfamiliar growth. If you truly hear this at the right time, understand this. You do not rise to your goals. You fall to your standards. Raise your internal standard. Your external life adjusts. Part 10. The comfort trap nobody talks about. You know what's more dangerous than failure? Comfortable mediocrity. Not broke enough to change, not successful enough to feel fulfilled. Just okay, okay income, okay body, okay relationships, okay routine. And okay slowly becomes permanent. There's no urgency, no crisis, no pain strong enough to force movement. So, you drift. Let me ask you something directly. Are you building a life you would admire, or a life that simply avoids discomfort? Because they are not the same. The life you admire requires friction. It requires friction in your habits, friction in your conversations, friction in your discipline. And most people avoid friction at all costs. But friction creates shape. Muscle grows from resistance. Skill grows from repetition. Confidence grows from exposure. Wealth grows from calculated risk. Everything meaningful requires pressure. If your life feels stagnant, check how much pressure you are intentionally applying. Part 11. You don't need more time, you need more truth. I don't have time. That sentence ruins more dreams than lack of talent ever will. You have time. You just don't prioritize your own growth above comfort. Let's be honest, you have time for scrolling, overthinking, watching other people succeed, consuming content, but not for building your idea, training your body, learning new skills, executing your plans. Time is not the problem. Truth is, if you want change, you must confront this. You are where you are because of repeated daily decisions. That's not guilt, that's power. Because if decisions built your current life, new decisions can rebuild it. And here's the shift. Stop asking, how do I change my life? Start asking, what behavior is keeping me here? Find that behavior, eliminate it, replace it. That's it. No drama, no philosophy. Execution. Oysters, Part 12. The discipline. Nobody sees. People see results. They don't see systems. They see the business, the transformation, the confidence, the money, the influence they don't see. The lonely mornings, the rejected ideas, the quiet practice, the failed attempts, the days of doubt. If you're waiting for applause before effort, you will wait forever. Growth is built in silence. You build when no one is watching. You train when no one cares. You push when no one claps. That's why few people win, because few people are willing to work without validation. Let this sink in. If nobody knew you were improving, would you still improve? That question reveals everything. Part 13. The real reason. You feel stuck. You're not stuck because you lack opportunity. You're stuck because you lack decision depth. You decide, but not fully. You commit, but with exit doors. You try, but with safety nets. Real change requires removing escape routes. If you say, I'll try for a month and see, your brain hears, this is temporary. And temporary effort produces temporary results. Instead say, this is who I am now. That changes behavior. Identity-level decisions are irreversible. For example, instead of, I'm trying to work out, say, I am someone who trains daily. Instead of, I'm trying to save money. Say, I am someone who builds assets. Instead of, I'm trying to be confident. Say, I am someone who speaks clearly and directly. Your brain reorganizes around identity statements backed by action, not affirmations, evidence. Part 14. The turning point is quiet. Here's something important. Life doesn't change in dramatic explosions. It changes in subtle internal shifts. One morning, you wake up and you're simply done. Done with excuses, half-effort, distractions, lowering standards, negotiating with weakness, and from that moment, you move differently. Not louder, not more emotional, more focused. That's the turning point. It's not a seminar, not a book, not a viral video. It's a private decision. And if you feel that quiet seriousness right now, you're closer than you think. Part 15. The standard you accept defines you. You teach people how to treat you. You teach your body how to perform. You teach your mind how to think. You teach your future what is allowed. Every standard you tolerate becomes your baseline. If you tolerate being late, breaking promises to yourself, low energy, weak effort, average thinking, that becomes your identity. But if you raise the standard even slightly, your entire trajectory shifts. Wake up 30 minutes earlier, speak more directly, train harder, study longer, say no faster. Small upgrades, massive long-term effect, because consistency compounds invisibly. Part 16. If this truly reached you at the right time, then you already know what you need to cut. You already know what you need to start. You already know which version of you is dying to emerge. This isn't about becoming someone else. It's about removing what blocks who you already are capable of being. And here's the final truth. Nobody is coming to save you. Nobody is coming to push you daily. Nobody will care about your potential as much as you should. And that's not depressing, that's empowering, because it means the power is yours, not the government, not your boss, not your parents, not your past, yours. So, if this reached you at the right time, don't just feel motivated. Choose one concrete action in the next 24 hours, not next week, not soon, 24 hours, because momentum loves immediacy. And 3 years from now, you will either say, I'm glad I started that day, or I wish I had. The difference between those two sentences is what you do after this moment. Now, the real question, are you done negotiating, or are you ready to build, decide? One day, this version of you will disappear, the tired one, the hesitant one, the one who keeps waiting. The only question is, will it disappear because you built something greater, or because you slowly settled? Years from now, you won't remember this video, but you will live the result of the decision you made after it. And that's the part that matters. So don't clap, don't comment, don't feel inspired, move quietly, consistently, irreversibly, and let your life become the proof.